North Central Sports Information Director Clark Teuscher joins us now. Clark, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
And we've already had some golf today, but the women's squad really making some noise with a big victory over Bloomington, over a star-studded field.
Yeah, they went down to the Illinois Wesleyan Spring Invitational. It's a 20-team invite with about 8 ranked teams, aside from North Central, who was ranked 15th heading into the tournament. The tournament was shortened by a day due to weather, so they just played one round on Sunday and wound up winning the event by 4 strokes over a lot of teams that were ranked ahead of them in the most recent coaches poll, including the #2 team in the country in DePaul University. So certainly helps their cause as they try to build a little more of a resume when the at-large bids are selected for the national tournament in their first week of May.
Yeah, and I was talking with Coach Ty Thompson. He said, biggest win in program history, so obviously plenty of good things going around. It's really hard to tell, but would you think that would put them over the top resume-wise, or is it still pretty much from right now, we don't know?
Well, looking at what they have done over the course of the spring, the round they shot at Wesleyan was the second best round that they've had all season long throughout the entire academic year. So if you're looking for a team that's playing well in the weeks leading up to the championship, you certainly have to give them a good hard look there. I would be surprised to find another team that's playing better than they are leading up to the championships.
All right, well, we can only hope. I know last week we said the baseball team really needed to take care of business against a couple teams down low in the CCCW. They did just that, the offense carrying the load.
Yeah, they put themselves right back into the thick of the conference race with 3 victories away from home. Really pounded out a lot of offense. I believe they had, 34 runs in 3 games. And only one of those games, they had a bit of an issue with some relief pitching in one of those games, but were able to hold on and win, and are a half a game out of first place in the conference now. And
a 3-game series with Wheaton coming up. What would you say is the key going into that one?
Well, getting to play would be a good place to start. We've had some issues with the weather that have canceled a couple of games, and we've had to move some things around. Wheaton's another team that's put up a lot of good offensive numbers. Their pitching hasn't quite been what they've needed. They've struggled a little bit since they've gotten into conference play, so we're going to need to keep the bats going and get ahead early and have our bullpen come through and help us out in the later innings.
Definitely, and sticking to the Diamond North Central softball team, a CCCW gauntlet of sorts. You talk about not being able to play. They've had some shuffling going around. They have 3 conference doubleheaders coming up in 5 days, so obviously a very important stretch for them.
Yeah, it wasn't for lack of effort. They sure tried to play on Saturday and wound up playing in some snow and some rain, and ended up having to call just a single game after 5 innings. So they've had to move their schedule around. They're going to be playing 8 games in 4 days or something like that coming up in the next week or so. So it's going to be certainly a challenge in terms of mentally coming back day after day after day and being ready to go. But it's something that they're going to have to get done if they're going to continue to move up and try to contend for a conference championship this year.
Yeah, a team with definite postseason aspirations. It's stretches like these where the good teams really do perform.
Well, then this is where you'll find out how good you are, and as well as your chances for advancing in a tournament. We were playing several times in a weekend, so it should certainly give us an opportunity to see where we would stack up in a postseason situation.
To the lacrosse team, a big conference win last week over Concordia, the first 2 times those 2 schools have met, followed by a tough non-conference loss.
Yeah, went over to Indiana Tech on Saturday, lost 18-17, allowed a goal in the last minute of regulation. Really had a large lead in that contest, so certainly disappointing not to come away with that. Certainly a big contest. They're wrapping up conference play Wednesday night against Fontbonne University, a team that they've lost to the last 2 years. A win would put them in contention for a bid in the conference tournament, but we won't know officially how that shakes out until once conference play concludes for sure on Thursday.
Yeah, a 3-way tie of possibilities. So obviously not only postseason aspirations for getting to that conference tournament, but also a little bit of revenge they maybe want to exact.
Yeah, it would be another step ahead for the tournament. First year they played, that game wasn't very close, and last year they lost by about 4 goals. And this year they're trying to take that extra step, and in a pressure situation to move into potentially their first postseason game ever. So certainly another step in the maturation of the program is what they're hoping for on Wednesday.
Mike Patrick's men's tennis squad had a couple non-conference tilts over the weekend. A tough 1-point loss, then a really big romp, and they have a couple of big conference matchups coming up.
Yeah, I think they're reaping the benefits of playing the tough schedule that they played early in the season. They took some lumps early, but they're starting to come around and play really well from top to bottom now. They've got a chance to tie for the first conference championship at North Central in men's tennis in over 40 years, with already a victory over the defending champions. So it's certainly a good position for them to be in as they head into the final weeks of the season. And
the women's tennis squad, they do play their main season in the fall, but a little bit of a tune-up here in the spring. Big win for them over Aurora.
Yeah, and that's an opponent that they've typically done pretty well against, and a good way to start this spring season and get some younger players into the lineup and see what they can do once they get into their traditional season in the fall.
Well, Clark, thanks for the insight. You always provide some great information.
Good to be here.
That's all the time we have for the Cardinal Report. We want to thank you for giving us some of your time today. Tune in next week when the Cardinal lacrosse squad joins us on set. I'm Alex Simmons. We hope you can join us.